Hello students, today we will study about the reproduction in terrace. The reproduction in terrace occurs by two ways. One is the vegetative reproduction and the second reproduction by spores. In vegetative reproduction occurs by death and decay of older portion of rhizome. Death and decay of older portion of rhizome. When the decay reaches up to the branching region, the two branches become separate and grow as individual plants. Next, that is the reproduction by spores. Terrace plants are homosporous, means produce only one kind of spores. The spores are produced inside the sporangia, which are grouped in continuous, continuous sorus, SORUS, at the margins of fertile spor- sporophylls or pinnules. Sporophyll and sori. The fertile leaf bearing sporangia is termed sporophyll. It is similar in form and structure to the vegetative leaf except for the presence of sporangia. The sporangia are borne on the lower margins of fertile pinnules. They are not grouped together in small separate sori, but the sorus is continuous, in which many sori are closely placed together and lost their individual identity. This type of sorus is called continuous linear sorus or Cenosorus, Cenosorus. The Cenosorus is born on marginal connecting vein of pinnule. It is lacking at the apexes, that is, it is lacking at the apexes of pinnules. Each Cenosorus is protected by scarious reflexed margin of fertile pinnule. It is called the false indusium. The true indusium is completely absent in terrace. The sporangia are not born in a regular succession. They are mixed in a Cenocerus. Structure of mature sporangium, that is the sporangium. The mature sporangium is differentiated into stalk and the body or capsule. The stalk is long, cylindrical, multicellular, cylinder, and consists of three vertical rows of cells. And the body of sporangium is oval or biconvex lens shaped. It has a single layered jacket. It has a single layered jacket. A few cells of jacket are modified to form stomium and annulus. The annulus is ring-like, consists of vertically elongated cells. It begins from stalk on one side, runs to the top and extends up to about halfway to the other side, where it joins with the epistomium. The outer and side walls of annulus are thin, whereas inner tangential and radial walls are thick. It helps in the dehiscence of the sporangium or capsule. The stomium consists of the stomium consists of four transversely elongated thin walled cells. The upper two cells, which join the annulus, are called epistomium, and the lower two, which join the stalk, is called the hypostomium. The capsule or sporangium wall encloses about 48 dark colored homosporous spores. Next, that is the dehiscence. Dehiscence of sporangium. Dehiscence of sporangium is normally occurs in dry weather as the Cynosaurus attains maturity. The indusium means false indusium dries and shrivels, exposing the mature sporangia to dry air. Drying causes outer cells of sporangium, including those of annulus, to lose water. The water is lost from the cells of annulus and their internal volume decreases. Means due to the loss of water, the internal volume decreases. The outer thin walls of annulus cells are sucked in are sucked in so that the outer surface area decreases. This creates a tension in the entire annulus strip, resulted breaking of stomium between the breaking of stomium between the two lips, that is epistomium and hypostomium, where the walls are extremely delicate. The annulus bends backwards, rupturing the body of sporangium and carrying its upper half containing spores. Containing upper half containing spores. The spores are dispersed in air as the cells continue to dry. The cohesive force of water within the cells of annulus decreases considerably. Their thin outer walls are pushed towards outer side, resulted annulus to snap back to its original position. During this during this movement, the spores are thrown away with a jerk with a jerk to some distances and carried away by the wind or air. Next, that is the gametophyte. The gametophytic generation begins with the formation of haploid spores. They germinate to produce gametophytic plant body. The spore is the first cell of haploid gametophytic generation. Each spore is minute, approximately 0.03 millimeter in diameter, dusty, dark colored, and roughly triangular in shape. It has two wall layers, the outer thick, hard, and brown, called exine or exospore, and the inner, thin, intine, termed the endospore. All the spores are of one type, means homosporous. The spore germination or the spore germinates as soon as it gets favorable moisture and temperature. It develops a chordate. It develops a chordate bisexual prothallus or gametophyte. The prothallus or gametophyte is small, approximately 5 to 10 millimeter in diameter, green, heart-shaped or chordate, and thalloid. It is flat, dorsiventral, and shows an apical notch in which the growing apex is situated. The central portion of gametophyte or prothallus is several cells thick, called cushion, whereas the lateral margins whereas the lateral margin or lateral wings are one cell in thickness. All the cells are thin-walled, polygonal, uninucleate, and bear many small discoid-shaped chloroplasts. So to perform the perform the photosynthesis. The prothalli are autotrophic in their mode of nutrition. Many unicellular, unbranched rhizoids arise from the ventral surface near the ends. Posterior end. The rhizoid penetrate into the soil and serve the function of anchorage and absorption of water and minerals. The rhizoids are haline but later on become brown. Under favorable conditions, the prothalli develop both the sex organs, means bisexual, develop both the sex organs on the ventral side. The antheridia are produced towards the base among the unicellular rhizoids, whereas the archegonia develop on the central cushion behind the apical notch. Behind the apical notch. Next, that is the sex organs. The gametophytes of Pteris are monoecious and bear both the sex organs Antheridia and Archegonia. Under favorable conditions, they develop only the Antheridia. However, they develop Archegonia at a later stage. The monoecious prothelli are protandrous. Protandrous mean develop Antheridia earlier than the Archegonia. The sex organs are formed on the ventral surface of Prothallus. The Antheridia are born toward the posterior side, whereas the Archegonia develop toward the apical notch. Antheridia are the male sex organs. They are produced on the ventral surface of Prothallus. They are small, sessile, and projecting type. Structure of mature Antheridium. Each mature Antheridium is small, sessile, and globular body, which is embedded in the ventral side of gametophyte but projects above the surface. It consists of single layered jacket. It consists of single layered jacket made up of three cells: first ring cell, second ring cell, and a cap cell or cover cell. Sometimes there are two cap cell or cover cells may be present. The jacket encloses about 30 to 50 large, spirally coiled, multiflagellated anthrozoids or spermatozoids. Each anthrozoid is enclosed within its mother cell. Dehiscence of Antheridium. The mature Antheridium dehisces in presence of external water. The jacket cells and the androcytes absorb water and swell. The swallowing exerts pressure, and due to the pressure, the cap cell or cover cell is either tilted to one side or thrown off OFF. The anthrozoids, which are still covered by androcyte membrane, are liberated through the opening of antheridium. The membrane dissolves to water and the anthrozoids set free are set free. The anthrozoids are spirally coiled, multiflagell are spirally coiled and multiflagellated. They swim in the film of water and reach the archegonia. Next, that is the archegonia. Archegonia are the female sex organs. They are placed on the ventral surface of central cushion behind the apical notch. Each archegonium each archegonium is embedded in the ventral side of Prothallus. The neck of archegonium is projected above the surface and it is curved towards the posterior end of gametophyte or Prothallus. The neck consists of four vertical rows of cells. Each row has each row has 3 to 7 cells. The axial The axial row of Archegonium consists of single, large, and deeply seated egg, single small ventral canal cell, and a long binucleate and a long binucleate neck canal cell. At maturity, the ventral canal cell as well as the neck canal cell disintegrate and become mucilaginous. The mucilage imbibes water and swells. It exerts pressure so that the neck cells diverge and create a wide opening. Next, that is the fertilization. Fertilization occurs in presence of water. The water fills the space between the lower surface of prothallus and soil. It is needed for the descent of the antheridia, liberation and movement of anthrozoids and opening of archegonial neck. The anthrozoids liberated from dazed antheridia swim in all directions in the film of water between prothallus and the soil. The mature archegonium secretes mucilage that contains some chemical substances, that is the malic acid. The anthrozoids are chemotactically attracted toward the open mouth of archegonia. They reach the archegonial mouth and enter into the neck canal. There are many anthrozoids can run, but only one fuses with the egg. The haploid nucleus of anthrozoid fuses with the haploid nucleus of egg and forms diploid zygote. Usually, only one archegonium is fertilized, the other remains unfertilized. Next, that is the embryo or young sporophyte. Zygote is the first cell of sporophytic generation, which is formed by the fusion of the spermatozoid with the egg. It remains embedded in the archegonium and develops into an embryo, which ultimately gives rise to mature sporophytic plant body. The polarity of embryo development is lateral because its axis is at right angles to that of archegonium. It is neither exoscopic nor endoscopic. The zygote divides by vertical wall found parallel to the long axis of the archegonium, forming the two unequal cells. The smaller cell toward the anterior side of prothallus is epibasal cell, and that towards posterior side is hypobasal cell. The next division occurs by the formation of a median wall at right angles to the first division wall, resulting into a four-celled quadrant stage. The third division is transverse. The third division is transverse, occurs by the formation of wall perpendicular to the long axis of archegonium, resulted into eight-celled octant stage. The organs of future sporophyte begin to differentiate at this stage, means octant stage. The epibasal half forms the shoot apex and cotyledons, whereas posterior or hypobasal half gives rise to first root and haustorial foot. The two outer anterior cells of octant near the archegonial neck form the cotyledons, whereas the other two anterior cells towards base of archegonium produce the shoot apex. Similarly, the two outer posterior cells of octant form the foot, whereas the outer two posterior cells, the similar again I repeat this. Similarly, the two outer posterior cells of octant form the root, whereas the other two posterior cells form the foot. Subsequently, the apical cells of root, stem, and cotyledon appear in their respective quadrants, and further growth occurs by the activity of these cells. The apical cell of root and cotyledon grows more rapidly as compared to that of stem. The apical cell of foot is not formed. The cells of foot quadrant divide repeatedly to form a hemispherical mass of cells which attaches the young sporophyte to prothallus and absorbs nourishment. Simultaneously, along with the development of embryo, the cells of gametophyte around the archegonium divide repeatedly to form calyptra, which encloses the embryo. The root and cotyledon means first leaf, come out by breaking the calyptra. The root penetrates into the soil and fixes the young sporophyte. The first leaf grows horizontally towards apical notch, bends upwards, and spreads its spatulate lamina to the light or towards the light. Finally, the young sporophyte becomes independent. Student, the topic of the pteridophyte, the topic of the pteris in the pteridophyte is finished with this video. This is the life cycle of the pteris. In this video, I have told you the development of the sporophytes. The development, as per your syllabus, the development of the sporophyte is excluded. So, you cannot learn about the development. Thank you.